الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي أنزل على عبده الكتاب ولم يجعل له عوجا قيما لينذر بأسا شديدا من لدنه ويبشر المؤمنين الذين يعملون الصالحات أن لهم أجرا حسنا ماكثين فيه أبدا وينذر الذين قالوا اتخذ الله ولدا ما لهم به من علم ولا لآبائهم كبرت كلمة تخرج من أفواههم إن يقولون إلا كذبا فلعلك باخع نفسك على آثارهم إن لم يؤمنوا بهذا الحديث أسفا إنا جعلنا ما على الأرض زينة لها لنبلوهم أيهم أحسن عملا صعيدا جرزا أم حسبت أن أصحاب الكهف والرقيم كانوا من آياتنا عجبا إذ أوى الفتية إلى الكهف فقالوا ربنا آتنا من لدنك رحمة وهيئ لنا من أمرنا رشدا الذين كانت أعينهم في غطاء عن ذكري وكانوا لا يستطيعون سمعا أفحسب الذين كفروا أن يتخذوا عبادي من دوني أولياء إنا أعتدنا جهنم للكافرين نزلا قل هل ننبئكم بالأخسرين أعمالا الذين ضل سعيهم في الحياة الدنيا وهم يحسبون أنهم يحسنون صنعا أولئك الذين كفروا بآيات ربهم ولقائه فحبطت أعمالهم فلا نقيم لهم يوم القيامة وزنا ذلك جزاؤهم جهنم بما كفروا واتخذوا آياتي ورسلي هزوا إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات كانت لهم جنات الفردوس نزلا خالدين فيها لا يبغون عنها حولا قل لو كان البحر مدادا لكلمات ربي لنفد البحر قبل أن تنفد كلمات ربي ولو جئنا بمثله مددا قل إنما أنا بشر مثلكم يوحى إلي أنما إلهكم إله واحد فمن كان يرجو لقاء ربه فليعمل عملا صالحا ولا يشرك بعبادة ربه أحدا.
Thank you for joining us at this year's Arba'een lecture series at Al-Mahdi Institute. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This year's series is titled Imam Hussein's Path to Surrender, and the series will be delivered by Shaykh Arif Abdulhussain, who's shortly joining us. I'd like to, normally I start by thanking the reciter of the Quran. And I was listening to a podcast about how AI is going to replace plenty of jobs. But inshallah, if you want to recite Quran, please let me know. We can get someone to do that instead of YouTube. But thank you to YouTube for doing that anyway. Tonight's program is sponsored for those marhumeens whose names are on the screen in the foyer. And today we also buried Fakir Amal Lalji, a matriarch of our Birmingham community. Can we please recite a Surah Fatiha for them and all marhumeens? There is still a chance to sponsor one of our lectures, and you can do that again via cash or card. You can donate in the foyer via the QR code as well. We have AMI is chosen Beta Charitable Trust for their charitable endeavor this year, and they support Gaza, Yemen and Lebanon by providing medical aid and clean water to donate in the foyer, and you can donate in the foyer or scan the QR code as well. There's a number of ways to get involved with AMI, but actually one of the incentives for yourself is if you want to buy a book, there's actually 20% off if you buy in person. So unfortunately not online, but you can buy the books for full price on Amazon as well. The latest publication is The Charm of the Red Rose, and it's a moral explanation of the Battle of Karbala by AMI's very own Professor Abul Qasim Fanai as well. Just for some programming reminders, tomorrow night's program will begin at 7:45 with Quran recitation, lecture, matam, ziyarat, and with namaz and refreshments. I was asked recently about how you can get onto the AMI WhatsApp as well, for those of you here, or online. And if you want those direct programming reminders straight coming to your phone via WhatsApp, you can go to https:// so it's ami.is//WA. And if you do that in your browser, you can directly join the WhatsApp group and get some programming reminders. So before we start the lecture, just a couple of bits of housekeeping. Fire exits are at the back of the main hall, near the main entrance, near the dining hall as well. We have toilets at the end of the corridor, and inshallah there's enough space for all of us today. But if I can ask you finally to just make sure your mobile phones are on silent, and if we can minimize chatter as much as possible inside the hall, and if you are exiting in the corridor as well, because the noise does carry. It's a beautiful building and that's one of its characteristics. So before I invite Shaykh to join us on the stand, can I ask everybody to just move as far forward as possible with a loud salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala.
رحم الله من قرأ الفاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين عليهم غير المغضوب أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين شفيع ذنوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا وحبيب قلوبنا أبي القاسم محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين وأصحابه المنتجبين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى قيام يوم الدين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. أما بعد، السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. We will be discussing the journey of Imam Hussein to surrender, but not exactly the journey of Imam Hussein, but that outstanding feature of Imam Hussein who was being deprived of everything, and yet his stability, steadfastness was growing, his contentment was prevailing upon his being, there was serenity, there was total surrender to God, to the level of feeling pleasure through that suffering, all the suffering culminating in the utmost reception of pleasure within the being of Hussein. We find these descriptions that as he was giving his life, he was radiating, and that his lips were moving in the praise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, declaring to God that I am pleased with you and I am surrendered to you. Now that is quite striking, that a person under so much pressure, pain, tribulation, how does he blossom through that? What was that Imam Hussein was experiencing? Now the verse often associated with that moment of Imam Hussein, although it was revealed on a different occasion, for different circumstances, but this is the verse that is often associated with the condition of Imam Hussein that we witness at hand when he is beneath the blade. Ya ayyatuha an-nafs al-mutma'inna irja'i ila rabbiki radiyatan mardiya. O contented soul, return to your Lord, being pleased with Him and pleasing to Him. Now here, at the point of surrender, we often associate that verse with the condition of Imam Hussein. So we ask ourselves, who is it that is surrendering? And what is being surrendered? And to whom is this surrender? And to what end is this surrender? What does it all mean? You see, the one thing we don't know about ourselves is who we are. That's the greatest question. It is a question that defies our mind. Who am I? Don't say to me you're Arif or things like that, yeah? It's not a time for jokes. It's a serious conversation. That is one thing we don't know. Who am I? So who is to surrender, and to who are we to surrender, and what are we to surrender? What can be surrendered? Think about it. A question that is filled with question. What am I going to surrender, and who am I going to surrender, and what is mine in the first place to surrender anyway? He is the first and the last, the apparent and the hidden. What can you surrender to Him? And how can you return to the one from whom you've never been separated? How does it all make sense? But there is one thing we do know, and that is what we are not. We always know what we are not. Anything that we can change within ourselves, we know we are not that. You see, even our limbs, if they are cut off, we will say, I still endeavor. I wasn't the limbs. And at the point of death, the whole body has gone. It's perished. But I will assume that I will be beyond the body. So I know I'm not the body. And everything bodily, similarly, is not me. Am I my religion? But I can change my religion. Am I my status? But they fluctuate. Am I my gender? Well, now we can have reassignment of gender. Am I my memories? But they have faded away whilst I am still within life. Within the folds of life, I've begun to forget. I know what I am not. So if I can begin by surrendering what I am not, then maybe I can arrive at what I may really be. And if I surrender to God, who I assume to be the perfection of the beauty that can be imagined, then maybe by giving away whatever I am not, I may emerge in that beauty that is everything. For at the end of the process of surrendering, I may find that there was nothing of me. Everything was arbitrary. Nothing was what I can call me. even my dispositions, my inclinations. The very fact that they can be surrendered, the very fact that I can relinquish my hold on my own personality, shows that my personality was not me. So maybe at the core of myself, I am waiting to emerge. A seed asks me, what is my purpose? I look at the seed and tell the seed, your purpose is to stop becoming yourself. Your purpose is to stop being yourself. And once you stop being yourself, a mighty tree will arise from you. And you take pride in being a seedling. Look at how wonderful a seed I am. So beautiful and so perfect. But once you stop being yourself, a tree shall emerge and produce fruits, and tens of thousands of you, O little seed, will be produced by you yourself. So your purpose, O seed, is to surrender. But what is my surrender? The seed asks. Your surrender is to allow yourself to become other than what you are by giving up what you are. So this is the only thing philosophically that comes to mind. That surrender can only mean surrender of what we are not to the one that we specify or set up as the perfection of whatever can be. And once this surrender happens, the nothingness emerges in that brilliance and beauty. But of course, the story needs to go on. And I've got 30 more minutes. So the verse that we started off with, O contented soul, return to your Lord. Now look at the secrets embedded within this verse. Return. But was I ever separated from you, O my Lord? How may I return to you when there is no place in which you are not? Ah, it is your inner return, not your outer return. Realize full well that you are never at a distance. Ah, okay. So return to your Lord in a contented state. Now, when does contentment come? Contentment, obviously, it's a state of rest and peace from within. But when do we find peace? When do we find rest? Have you thought of this? After fasting for a lifetime, praying salah throughout the days of our lives, do we still have rest in there? Is there any rest? There is no rest, is there? Look at the way we worry. Look at the anxiety that fills us. Look at the anger and the rage. Look at the competitive nature that we have. How can the soul be at rest? The soul is in dynamism. It's in motion constantly. When do you find rest? The only time the soul finds rest is when the soul is fulfilled, when there is nothing to be sought. What that means is that whatever we are seeking, whatever we have attained, it is nothing. For there is no rest, there is no peace. If it was something, then we would find that rest, wouldn't we? Ah, I unsheathe the sword of La ilaha illallah, convert the world to those who prostrate to God. Yet this soul that converts others finds no rest itself. All of it is nothing. There is no rest. There is no peace. The one after the world has no rest, and the one after God has no rest. Can you not see? It is a false person endeavoring to find something. But how can one in a dreamy state find anything? If I own a mansion in my dream, have I owned anything? Think about this carefully. Oh, one at rest, return to your Lord. But being at rest is a return, O Lord, exactly, he says. Then find rest, and that is your return. Being pleased with him. How phenomenal is this verse? Being pleased with him. Until now, we have all thought we are creatures of God who are unworthy of anything, and God bestows upon us. And here the Lord cries out, being pleased with Him. You are the one who will be pleased with Him. Who am I to be pleased with you, O God? But Hussein cried out beneath the blade, I am pleased with you. What does it mean, being pleased with Him? You see, the story is so deep and profound, that it just needs a seed to allow itself to be buried deep within the ground, and for its chest to be broken, for it to understand the journey. That journey is not from here to the Kaaba. The journey is not from here to the hereafter. No, it's a different journey. The journey is from here to here, nowhere else. You see, the tree is not something we will grow into. The tree needs emergence from within in this case. There is a truth buried deep within the chest. But for that, the chest needs to be broken. For that, the barrier needs to be removed. It needs to be effaced. Now the ulama will tell us, being pleased with your God means being pleased with His decree. True. Being pleased with your decree, but to what end? Why pleased with your decree, O God? Hussein says in his Dua Arafah so brilliantly, O Lord, bring me to a stage where I plead not with you to postpone your destiny that you have decreed. And O Lord, bring me to a level where I beg you not to hasten this decree that you have chosen to postpone. Indeed, come to that stage where we understand that everything that was set by God in this place that we call dunya was very well constructed, was extremely meaningful, had purpose and was filled with purpose and purposeful. But to what end? And pleasing to Him. You see, when you analyze this, being pleased with God means the same as being pleasing to Him. It's one and the same, as we will see. Now imagine this verse, فَادْخُلِي فِي عِبَادِي وَادْخُلِي جَنَّتِي, and enter within my creatures, and enter within my paradise. He is no longer talking about entering within the gardens. He is saying, my paradise. The paradise of Qais cannot be in the palace of Layla. The paradise of Qais is in the presence of Layla, effaced within her. How odd are the children of Adam who want to enter within the paradise of God and not want to meet God Himself. Isn't that odd? We are so alienated, but this alienation is the opportunity. So what is it that we are surrendering? Now we find the answer in another verse, in which God constructs this verse. وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ وَنَقْصٍ مِّنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَأَنفُسٍ. Indeed, we will test you with the with fear, with loss of wealth, with death. The verse says, give glad tidings to those who are patient and who persevere and who exclaim at times of tests and tribulations, Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. We are for Allah and to Allah we return. How striking is this verse, the phraseology. We are not from Allah, we are for Allah. And to Allah we return, not that we will return, we return at present. And look at the context, when something is being taken away from them, when they are tested with fear, they say, but we are for Allah and we return to Allah. What does that gesture? It gestures that this property that has diminished was nothing to do with me. I am for Allah and I am returning to Allah. The people who have died were not mine. I am for Allah and I am returning to Allah. The fear, what will you take away from me? Your own life will be snatched from you, your property will be snatched from you, your freedom will be snatched from you, your prestige. But I am for Allah, I am for Allah and I return to Allah. What does it all mean? What it means is that that which has left me was never mine. And that which has left me has awoken me. That by getting rid of it, I am a step closer to my truth. By relinquishing my hold upon that which was false, I have awoken to my reality. It is a journey that I'm undertaking, step by step, a journey of return, a return to my truth, my true calling. I was never this body. And I was never anything to do with this body. Now, why is this body so important in the whole process of surrender? Think about this carefully. Imagine if we enter into a virtual reality. And it's so persuasive and immersive that we feel that we are the character within the virtual reality. You must have seen it on social media, that people punch each other, bang their heads against the wall, or they scream and shout. A person is made to think that they are walking a tightrope on top of a 100-story building, and they're scared. And we laugh at them watching that they are standing inside their living rooms. And there's a whole floor, and they're not going to fall. But in their minds, it's a frightful event, is it not? What can that person do? They can just remove the goggles and you're back to where you were. But doesn't that defeat the purpose? Is fearless one who doesn't understand fear, or the fearless is the one who conquers fear? Who is the fearless one? Who is the brave one? A person high on LSDs and drugs and alcohol, and who stands in front of an army and say, "Come get me"? Or a person who knows that those spears are sharp, they will cut through your flesh, and still stands and says, "O swords, come devour me"? If the deen of Muhammad cannot be saved by my blood, then "O swords, come devour me." Who is the brave one? Who is the generous one? One who doesn't understand greed because they have no sense of wealth and money? Or one who understands insecurity of wealth and is still able to let go? Who is the more complete? The one who can overcome fear, the one who can overcome greed, the one who can say, "Hasbi Allah wa ni'mal wakil," or the one who doesn't understand fear and says, "Hasbi Allah wa ni'mal wakil"? So you see, the truth is, step back into the virtual reality. Now with us, the case is this, that we haven't stepped into the virtual reality knowingly. We have awoken within a virtual reality. Something happens at the 4th month to a fetus, and suddenly there is a dormant person in there. It is like me and you wearing goggles, but much earlier on in life. It stretches out its hand. Oh, it's obedient to my thought. It cries out. Oh, there's a response from the mother. As soon as it sees, it's indoctrinated within that reality. It's nothing but falsity. There is nothing true about this world. There is nothing true about our existence. Do you not see the similes that the Quran gives? What is the life of this world but a deceptive pleasure of a moment? The parable of this world is the rains that come upon the grounds. It produces its harvest, it produces its plantation, and then they dry and wither away and they're all scattered. There is no permanence, the Quran says. It is as if it wasn't real in the first place. Nothing about you is real here. By you I mean me as well. And that is why the Quran very clearly calls this life hayatud dunya, the lowly life, not the real life. You see that verse of the Quran? Today the veils have been parted from your sight. Today the veils have been parted and your sight is as sharp as a blade. Do you not see the people lamenting on the day of Qiyamah? Now we see, now we hear. Send us back and we will be righteous creatures. Or the report of Imam Ali, people are asleep. When they die, they awaken. This life is a life of falsity. But this life of falsity is such a phenomenal gift from God that as we remove the falsity, something magnificent begins to emerge. Now imagine, when we give up what is not us, and we arrive at that point which is absolutely nothing but brilliant potential, and we make God as our direction, who is absolute completion at its pinnacle, then the only route is one of emergence in the image of the most beautiful one. Isn't it? I'll explain that over the next 2 days. That as we begin to lose ourselves, we begin to emerge. But this can only take place if there is a direction. And that direction is the most beautiful one, God Himself. So now, when we talk about surrender, what are we surrendering to God? The first thing is, we surrender to the decree of God. For it is meant to be the way it is. And we will talk about this further. In the beginning, there is hesitation. There is resistance. But then there comes a stage of wholesome acceptance. You see Ibrahim being flung within the pit prepared by Nimrod. Gabriel appears to him, although this might not be true, but the sentiment is accurate. He says, Abraham, ask your God to extinguish the fire. He says, no. Ask me to help you. No, it is between me and my God. He said, will you not ask Him therefore to save you? If He wishes, He can burn me to ashes. If He wishes, He can turn the fire into a garden. I stand surrendered to Him and His decree. That stage is a lofty stage, surrendering to the decree of God. But there is something far more subtle that needs to take place before we surrender to the decree of God, as did Hussein and Abraham. We need to surrender our falsity to Him. We are not everything that we have imagined ourselves to be. So let us examine who we think we are. We think we are these bodies, don't we? And what comes with this false identity? 3 or 4 things come with it, and they're all good if we use them positively. Pride comes with it. I am. That pride comes through the falsity of being. Then comes what? Arrogance. I am better than he is. Even if we don't say it, we feel it. You know, when we Maulanas give lectures one after another, there's often a competition, a subtle competition. You know you want to be the last one so you can beat them all. Or you want to be the first one to just say to everybody else, there's no challenge. Now, Federer has been here, Just concede. Honestly, examine deep within. This exists in all of us. There is arrogance, even if we don't say it. There is competition. And there is fear and anxiety. How do they all come about? They are all born through the false identity, through false body orientation. And the poor soul has awoken in this false reality. So it's fooled and beguiled. And as it is fooled, it's alienated from its truth. And there is a call, return to me. But how should I return to you? I am me. Of course you can't return to me. You have to give yourself up. Give the falsities up, and then you will return to me. And as soon as you give your falsities up, you have already returned. For there was no separation in the first instance. So there is a subtle notion of surrender. And that is the surrender of what I feel I am. My biases, my prejudices, everything that makes me me and gives me a sense of I am and my identity. That is the greatest falsity. There is no superiority for a Muslim over a non-Muslim. And Jibreel has no superiority over Iblis. None of them have any superiority. Do you know why? Because Iblis is as much a creation of my Lord as is Gabriel. Do you know that? Iblis has as much handiwork of God in his being as Gabriel. He has as much light in him as Gabriel has. Now this is odd to understand, isn't it? It's so odd to understand, isn't it? But doesn't Allah say He is the light of the heavens and the earth? Does He not say that? Allah nurus samawati wal ard. If He is the light of the heavens and the earth, then the most despicable Iblis is no less light than any of the proximate angels of God. Can you see this? Hell is a reflection of His mercy, as is heaven. It is a very different reality to the one we are understanding. So the falsity is this bias, is the I-ness, is the discrimination, is this notion of superiority, is everything that holds me together. Now how can a person who is immersed in this falsity ever reach the beloved? Everything I do is to retain myself, isn't it? Think about it. I say to God, God, spare me from hell. And God says, who are you? And I say, this body, I don't want it to be burnt. And God says, you're already in hell. For that is the hell. Do you not see? God, give me paradise. Who are you? God asks. I'm this, Arif. I want to rejoice. You will never gain paradise. You will only gain bodily pleasures as you have here. For you want to be you. How can you ever meet me? You will meet your bodily pleasures there wherever you think you are going. So the real surrender is of this self. And it is not difficult, trust me. As life progresses, and as God places His tests, as death frequents our doorstep and takes away everyone we love, bit by bit it removes the false sense, the false self, the sense of false self. As people curse us and swear at us, it chips away the pride of the self. As poverty hits us, it takes away the pride of control. Do you know this? The world is designed so beautifully to relieve us of the false self. So what is this surrender? This surrender is actually to remove ourselves from ourselves, to arrive at ourself. And that is the fullness of the self in the beauty and glory of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now it's easy to say that become charitable and give money. But that is not becoming godly. That is me, Arif, giving charity to feed the ego of Arif to get into paradise. Do you not see that? The act of charity is further alienation. Take guidance to the people. What guidance? You yourself are in the biggest misguidance yourself. How will you guide anybody else? Have you ever thought of that? You yourself don't know what you are. How can you guide anybody else? Just share your journey with everybody. And maybe they can get guided aright, which you haven't managed to. I'm talking about myself. La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah. Where is Allah in you? There is the biggest sharik in you, can't you see? You are the other God other than God. You're talking about no God but God. You are the least of God's creatures to talk about that. But look at Hussein. He is tearing. And they say, why? He says, it's the fate of those who put me to death. Why would your heart break at the fate of those who are confined to the folds of hell? Because they are earning hell by putting me to death. I have become a test for them. And his heart breaks for them. In which world did he exist? Look at him. The greatest surrender for today, and I'll finish, my time is elapsing. The greatest surrender for us is to truly introspect deep within ourselves. Whatever we are doing, you see, intellectually we understand that we are not this body and everything, but we are not ready to believe it. We are truly not ready to believe it. I often place a litmus test before myself. I say Allah is my sustainer, and Allah is the one who gives me life and will take my life, and no soul shall die save with the consent of God. True? Allah gives wealth and poverty. True? It's in the Quran. If that is the case, then why am I so hesitant to give in the way of God? Can you see that? If that is indeed the case, then why am I so fearful of proclaiming the truth, that my sustenance will be severed or my life will be shortened? Can you see this? There is falsity within us, even through religion. Even in religion, we have constructed a God that resembles us. That falsity is so persuasive and pervasive and so enduring that even in paradise, mushrikeen will be entering there. There will be shirk in paradise because I will be going into paradise. That's the problem. Everything about us is false. Nothing is true about us. Now, the first thing I often challenge myself is that, can you rid your heart of your discriminations? If the answer is no, then that needs to be surrendered. And why are you unable to overcome your discriminations? Because I am I. There you go. The idol lurks in there. That needs to be surrendered. So, I was in Karbala. And you know how we people are living here in the West. This was in the time of Saddam. And truly that was an eye-opener for me, that event. So we felt sorry for the people who were living rough between the haram of Imam Hussain and Hazrat Abbas salamullah alayhima, sitting on the roads, sleeping on the roads. So I went there. Now obviously, in Arif's self, he's doing a noble deed for the sake of Allah at the shrine of Hussein ibn Ali. For Arif, it was a noble deed with sincerity. You see, the noble deeds always come with sincerity, and there's nothing but deception. So I went and sat there and I took some food, and they smiled. And they brought out food as well, very simple food. And we ate, and I was feeling good, you know, that I can sleep on the floor, I can eat. And only for me to find out they were bankers. They were multi-millionaires. And they were sitting there, humbling themselves in the honor of Hussein ibn Ali. Can you see that? And there I was. These are unfortunate people, lovers of Hussein. I will serve them. I will sit on the floor. I will eat crumbs of bread with them. I've humbled myself. What falsity is this? Anyway, that was an awakening from me, that look, you're filled with pride. You're the last one to be here at the feet of such a great master. Look at the journey of our Hussein Salamullah alayhi. It is truly an amazing journey. You see him as a different person a few years prior to Karbala. You can see him as a very passionate person, standing for the truth, opposing evil. His khutbah in Mina, the way he speaks. You see him at Jabalur Rahma. You see a different person. A person who is giving away himself. A person who is emerging within that beauty. At that point, he calls out to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He says, "Oh Allah, when were you at a distance that I needed to come close to you? It was I who has remained at a distance from you. You have always been nigh. Oh Allah, when were you hidden that you needed to be seen? Blind are the eyes that do not see you watching over them." He is a different person here. You see him in Karbala, crying at one point, lamenting. You see him at the body of Akbar, torn, yet he stands, dusts his garments, and says, "O child, by taking you so early, Allah has spared you of the sufferings and the griefs of this world." You see a person overcoming everything that held him together, everything that put him at a distance, even if it is the distance in the slightest. He comes to his Abbas, his backbone. He gives up Abbas, walks away. He trembles holding his baby, puts him to rest, and reascends his steed. But there is a test that Hussein did not know was going to come upon him. And that was the test, and his final test. When a child emerges from the tent, and as he faces the enemy for his final battle, with trembling legs she walks behind him and pulls at his garments and says, "Oh Father, look at me. I die of thirst." For her sake, Hussein goes to the Euphrates or Al-Qama time and again to bring back water. But this was the final moment, the fear of what will happen to those that he leaves behind after he has gone. And that was the reason why he did not surrender to that. But finally, as he is struck upon his blessed head and he arrives upon the dust, he gives up every single thing. And there's a cry, "Await not, behead him." When they approach next close to him, as they say, when we circled in on him, we saw such serenity and radiance emanate from him. We saw his lips moving in the praise of Allah as he called out, "O you who are near, O you who respond. Indeed, I am pleased with your decree and surrendered to your command. ألا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون. Can we recite Surah Fatiha for all those who have gone before us, and for our dear mother, Fakhriya Ma, and for all those poor souls who have lost their lives in Palestine and elsewhere, Muslim and non-Muslim, and for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help them and bring an end to their oppressors. Al-Fatiha.
Imam Hussein.
Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. We've got enough people here to just say Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Sant, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. پیارے نبی کی پیاری نواسی، پیارے نبی کی پیاری نواسی، شام کو قیدی بن کے چلی ہے، آئی نغم میں منہ پہ اداسی، آئی نغم میں منہ پہ اداسی، شام کو قیدی بن کے چلی ہے، پیارے نبی کی پیاری نواسی، پیارے نبی کی پیاری نواسی، شام کو قیدی بن بیٹوں کی دولت حق پہ لٹا دی، لب نہ ہلائے دنیا ہلا دی، بیٹوں کی دولت حق پہ لٹا دی، لب نہ ہلائے دنیا ہلا دی، صبر کی ملکہ غم کی خزا دی، شام کو قیدی بن کے چلی ہے، پیارے نبی کی پیاری نواسی، پیارے نبی کی پیاری نواسی، شام کو کہ چلی ہے، ساری کمائی دشت میں کھو کر، پیاروں کو رو کر بھائی کو کھو کر، ساری کمائی دشت میں کھو کر، پیاروں کو رو کر بھائی کو کھو کر، کھاتی ہوئی تھی ہر گام پہ ٹھوکر، شام کو قیدی بن کے چلی ہے، پیارے نبی کی پیارے نبی کی پیاری نماسی دی، باپ کی سیرت ماں کا سلیقہ، روشن جسے ہے دی کا طریقہ، باپ کی سیرت ماں کا سلیقہ، روشن جسے ہے دی کا طریقہ، بند رسن میں ہے امت کی شفیقہ، شام کو قیدی بن کے چلی ہے، پیارے کی شام کو قیدی بن کے سبھی ہے، حریان ہے سر احمد کا گھرانہ، کوچہ و بازار میں وہ پرانا، حریان ہے سر احمد کا گھرانہ، کوچہ و بازاروں میں وہ پرانا، بدلی ہے دنیا الٹا زمانہ، شام کو قیدی بن کے چلی ہے، پیارے نبی کی پیاری نواسی، شام کو قیدی کے چلی ہے، کوفے میں خلقت کا وہ مٹنا، راہ بنی ایک چشم تماشا، کوفے میں خلقت کا وہ مٹنا، راہ بنی ایک چشم تماشا، ہائے وہ گزرا ہائے گزرنا وہ آل ابا کا، شام کو قیدی بن کے چلی ہے، پیارے نبی کی پیاری نواسی، کو قیدی بن کے چلی ہے، بھائی کی شیدا حق کی فدائی، حرف حقیقت لب پہ جو لائی، بھائی کی شیدا حق کی فدائی، حرف حقیقت لب پہ جو لائی، ساکت وہ مجمع چپ تھی خدائی، شام کو قیدی بن کے چلی ہے، پیارے نبی کی پیاری نواسی، پیارے نبی کی شام کو قیدی بن کے چلی ہے، آئی نغم میں منہ پہ اداسی، آئی نغم میں منہ پہ اداسی، شام کو قیدی بن کے چلی ہے۔ سورۃ الفاتحہ۔ زیارت۔ السلام علیک یا رسول اللہ، السلام علیک یا نبی اللہ، السلام علیک یا امیر المؤمنین، السلام علیک یا فاطمة الزہراء سیدتی نساء العالمین، السلام علیک یا خدیجة الکبریٰ ام المؤمنین، السلام علیک یا ایہا الحسن المجتبی، السلام علیک یا ابا عبد اللہ، وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك وعلى خطر رحلك عليك مني جميعا سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين وعلى أخوات الحسين. السلام عليكم يا شهداء كربلاء وأسراء كربلاء جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا مولانا مولا، السلام عليك يا غريب الغرباء، السلطان أبا الحسن مولانا علي بن موسى الرضا، كن شفيعنا وشفيع والدينا في يوم الجزاء. سلام الله وعلى آبائك السبعة وأبنائك الأربعة وعلى أختك فاطمة المعصومة جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا حجة الله يا ابن الحسن يا صاحب العصر والزمان سيدي الأمان 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 من فتنة الزمان. السلام عليك يا خليفة الرحمن، السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن، السلام عليك يا كعبة الإيمان، السلام عليك يا إمامي وإمام الإنس والجان. أجر الله تعالى فرجك وسحل الله مخرجك واجعلنا من آوانك وأنصارك والمستشهدين بين يديك. السلام عليكم يا أهل بيت النبوة جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته.